Hey, 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 it's Carol Chamberlain in for the lovely Leza live on the news 103.5 KYCA. Happy to be here on this. What day is today? Oh, yeah, it's Thursday. How are you
I was
doing,
going to
Matt?
say, don't ask me. I don't remember.
Well, you should remember.
They all blur together.
Well, actually, I have to tell you, mine don't anymore. They might have used to, but they simply don't anymore. So, do you have any fights with your neighbors this morning?
No. They stayed in their homes. It was good. And it wasn't fights. It was discussions.
It was just a discussion. Were you on their side? Or you said you didn't care about that helicopter.
I'm not happy about it, but there's nothing I can do about it because I don't live in the city. So
Exactly. So, Drew, how about you?
Good morning. Doing wonderful.
So, I'm really anxious to hear about, I can't remember, but I think it's Wednesday, whatever, or whatever Wednesday.
Wherever Wednesday.
Oh, I was not even close.
No,
So,
it's okay. Unfortunately, we didn't have a Taco Tuesday or a Wherever Wednesday. Couple of the people got sick and they just didn't feel like it, so I ended up with leftovers.
oh no.
Oh yeah. That's
Actually,
okay.
actually, I made some quick bolognese yesterday.
Oh, nice.
It was actually pretty good, except at the end of the meal, Ken said something like, I think it needed more tomatoes. So I'm going to go home and stew some tomatoes and throw it in the leftovers. And guess what we're having tonight?
Yep.
Bolognese.
Bolognese.
Re-bolognese.
Yeah.
Well,
But, it's one of those things. Sometimes, we do it. But just so you know, next Wednesday, we're at the Girly Grill. They've made that decision.
oh, already
So-
the Girly Street Grill. I like that.
Yeah, so Wednesday we'll do Girly Street Grill.
So, are you going to have a meal that's named after somebody? At least they used to name their meals after people, like Sal Ludi's salmon salad.
Yeah. No, when I go there, I'm sorry, they have the best pot pie ever. And
Like
if you
chicken
haven't had
pot
it,
pie?
their chicken pot pie is off the chart, dear. And it's a huge. Jamie gets 3 meals out of it. I get 2, but it's
Wow.
wonderful. The flaky crust. So it's like, okay, we're going to Girly Grill. Well, I'll just get a pot pie because they're just so good.
I love that. See, that's one of the things I do. I usually have something favorite somewhere. And it's hard for me to go off that. And when I do, I'm usually disappointed. So,
Well, my theory is it depends on what we're going to have. So if somebody says, example, I want taquitos, I would say, well, let's go to Casa Sanchez because they make their own.
oh,
So if I want a, chili verde burrito, then I can go to Arturo's because I like it better than the other places. So depends on what I want to eat is where I go.
actually, I love that. So you eat out a lot. I have to say, I don't do that as much anymore.
No, once basically we do our, wherever Wednesday, Taco Tuesday, and then Jamie and I go out one day during the week because sometimes she doesn't feel like cooking and neither do I.
Gosh, I understand that feeling.
Or we have a date night. That's even better.
So when you have a date night, the two of you go on your motorcycle?
No. Jamie wants nothing to do with my motorcycles. Even though we met at a motorcycle event, she's not good. She's been in a couple of car accidents and she flinches and it's just not fun for her.
Oh, I gotcha.
So
So
it
if
works
she
out-
if she flinches in a car, I can only imagine what it's like on
Oh,
a motorcycle.
yeah. We went maybe 30, 40 yards. I turned around and said, no, this is not going to work. But I give her credit for trying. And you know what? It's okay. So now if we go someplace or, example, Branson, okay? I'll leave 2 or 3 days early. I'll ride my motorcycle to Branson. She flies, gets there, gets to the hotel. I show up. We have a great weekend. She flies home. I ride my bike home. It's great.
Actually, that's really working it out very well for the family. I absolutely love
Yeah.
that.
And she's very, very tolerant, as you can imagine, dealing with me.
I don't think you're so hard to tolerate. Speaking of tolerating people, Matt.
I was going to say, you don't know Drew very well. But
What a segue.
Oh, so
Beautiful.
What do you like to eat out?
whatever.
Everything.
Yeah.
Certainly, you have a favorite something somewhere.
Well, I mean, if you got to go favorite, it's always fish. Fish is my favorite thing ever.
Really?
But yeah, I mean, nothing beats a good steak.
Well, certainly nothing beats a good steak, but let's go back to fish. Are you a fisher person?
You mean a fisherman?
Well, yeah, but I like to fish. So, are you a
Fisher people. So you're being PC. Is that what you were doing, Carol?
Do you like to fish,
Wow.
Matt? That's what
Yes,
she wants to know.
I do like to fish, but it's been a while.
How long?
A couple years probably.
So, when you fish, do you clean them and eat them on the side of the river?
Depends where I pull the fish out of.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. So you don't object to cleaning and cooking your own fish.
Oh no.
So
No.
what's your favorite fish?
I'm a big fan of salmon, rainbow trout. Honestly, I like it all.
I love that too. My all-time favorite fish is sea bass, and you just can't get it good anymore. I guess it was overfished, and so we're done with that.
Yeah, they're kind of breeding the fish now, but you could get some stuff.
I know. Actually, you can get sea bass at Costco, and I've gotten it and made it, and it's good.
It's easier just to go and bother Barry and he's having sea bass. Oh, let's just go to Tormay. Let's just
Actually,
go
we should ask to
Gato.
put that on the menu. We should ask him.
He has a great salmon on the menu.
I
I
do
know
know
that. I've
that.
had the salmon there.
I do know that.
But everything I've had there is good. So it just depends on what you feel like eating.
I got you. That is absolutely true. I have to tell you, at El Gato Azul, my very favorite thing is his black bean cakes. One of the things I always get. So I guess when I go there, I'm a vegetarian. Anyway, I want to talk to you just a minute about the weather, Drew. Don't mean to keep having you on the spot, but
Not a
what's our
problem.
weather like?
Well, it's going to be cooler today. It's going to be breezier today. That's for sure. We'll have some sun a little bit later on in the afternoon, but the winds will be light, about 15 to 20 miles an hour, and then later on in the afternoon, that's going to increase, and we'll have winds up to 40 miles an hour. But tonight, we're looking at 60% chance of rain.
60% chance of rain.
60. Yep.
And what's it going I'm sorry, I must have missed this. What's it going to be like tomorrow?
Tomorrow, you're looking at mid to high 50s.
Oh my gosh, I better bundle up.
Yeah, it's going to drop down. We're going to have a cold snap, and then next week we'll be back into the 70s, our normal weather. So,
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Sadly enough, Ken is playing in a golf tournament on Saturday, so he's already planning on how to bundle up. And I'm going to tell you why I'm asking this question. So, a year ago at this time, Ken and I had the most beautiful backyard in existence. Well, it was a personal thing I'm saying
Right.
there. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. In fact, it was so gorgeous that he said to me, "We have to have a party," and we did. Not so much so this year. I guess we had such a horrible summer that both of my Japanese maples are just awful looking, awful looking. Although one of them's trying to bloom a little, the other one has started blooming again. It was terrible. So we lost our entire grass. We lost it. And it's a sad thing because Ken has spent so much time on it, put in this underground seeping watering system so, you don't lose it through evaporation. I mean, he put his heart and soul into this, and his robotic mower, Mona, has been trying to keep up with it. I'll pause there for effect. Are you laughing at us?
Yeah, naming your lawnmower Mona?
Well, yes, he
Mona the mower.
He loves his Mona. In fact, he put 2 American flags on the back of it so that when she goes along the yard, people from the golf course can see her and, salute. Anyway. I know. But, he loves his yard, and so do I. Looking out over our grass onto the grass of the golf course is fabulous.
Are you sure he doesn't love the mower more?
Than I?
No, than the yard.
I was going to say maybe even more than no.
No.
So we have decided, and we talked to Northland Turf, and we're going to resod our grass this month.
Wonderful.
Well, when you said that it was going to be down in the 50s, and I read yesterday that it's going to freeze in Flagstaff over the weekend, I'm wondering what cold weather does to new sod.
Well, if it freezes, obviously, when you put your sod down, the soil prep, it has to have enough moisture. Then they put it in so the roots go down. But you're talking about 2 days here. And when are they putting your sod in?
In the last week of this month.
You should be okay. We should be back in our normal weather.
So when's our usual first freeze?
I don't have that answer.
Well,
but I will look up. But typically, okay, we usually get a freeze, and then it gets nice, and that's what's happening, and that gets rid of all the bugs.
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
When we hit the first freeze, the bugs say, "Uh-oh, time to go." They go for their hibernation, and then we get the beautiful weather, and the doors open. There's nothing out there.
I have to tell you, I always learn something from Drew. Thank you, Drew.
I'm shocked Drew didn't know.
I'm sorry, Matt. I disappointed you.
You did. I mean, he typically knows everything. At least he knew the sod thing.
Well, of course he knows the sod thing. He knows, certainly
I did
does
sod myself.
So I have to tell you, I did something pretty exciting yesterday.
Won the lottery?
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be exciting.
If she won the lottery, would she be here? That's the real question.
Of course.
Absolutely, because,
Because you miss us.
I would absolutely miss you. And, if I quit, I wouldn't lose any money anyway. Anyway, last week, a friend of mine and I went garage sailing. Have you ever done that? I love to go garage sailing on occasion. I had a great time. The first house was in Southview, and it was absolutely great. And I went on Friday, which was half price day. So I got this beautiful Italian bowl that you put spaghetti in. And it was $8 for 4. So I got a fabulous bargain. And about halfway through that sale, I looked around and I thought, oh gosh, everything in this house is for sale. Clothes, shoes, everything. And I thought, oh my gosh, I bet somebody moved out of this house permanently onto the better beyond. And so I made 3 purchases at half price, total of $8.
So what you're saying is you have haunted spaghetti bowls?
I haven't thought about that. I'll think about that on October 31st and maybe hide that bowl. Anyway, so the next place we went to was at Hazley Estates. And I walked into that one, and it wasn't quite as nice as the other one, but it was good. I didn't find anything. And then we went to the third one, which was out at the Prescott Country Club out in Dewey. And it's windy out there. Let me just tell you, anytime, I couldn't believe it. So on the way to the house, there was another garage sale, but it was all art. And while I was there, I saw something that caught my eye. And then we moved to the third garage sale or estate sale, and it was one that you just had to turn around and walk out. But all 3 of those made me think, oh my gosh, all these sales were the greater beyond. Anyway, one of the things that I saw in this art sale was a beautiful fused glass piece, and it was of a green Volkswagen. Beautiful. It's like a square plate standing in a stand, and has a little light post over on one side, and this little green Volkswagen with 3 dots of smoke coming out of the tailpipe, and just lovely. And you see, my sister-in-law, when she graduated from college probably 78 years ago, no, not 78, 58, however many, she went to Germany, which was very gutsy for Marlene. She went to Germany. She bought a Volkswagen, drove it around, and then had it shipped back, which I thought was really good. And then I saw this, and it was like, I cannot believe that I got my first Christmas present yesterday. Isn't that
Excellent.
good?
Well, let's just hope she's not listening to the radio.
I don't think from North Carolina she's probably paying attention to Prescott
We are
Radio.
streaming live everywhere.
Oh, I hope she's not listening either. But anyway, she will get a great surprise.
That's wonderful.
I think so too. So there are two things that went to that. One of them is it's Christmas time nearly, shocking to me. And the second is it was about travel. And I am really excited to say that today we have joining us Sue Pierce, a travel agent. So we're going to take our first break and come back and ask everything we can what you need to know about a day in the life of a travel agent. Be right back. Hello, hello. It's Carol Chamberlain sitting in for Leza live on the news 103.5 KYCA. And as I told you before our break, we are so lucky to have Sue Pierce of Vacation Adventures Unlimited. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, the reason I'm so excited is Ken and I just got back from the biggest vacation we've ever taken. And while I was there, I'll tell you some of our, as we get along into this, I realized how helpful it might have been for me to have contacted a travel agent before we went. So here we are.
Well, just to tell you, my tagline is the internet's for looking, but Sue's for booking.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. So Sue, let's back up a little.
Okay.
Where do you hail from?
Well, I was born in New York, but I've lived in 11 different states
Oh,
and about 19 different cities. So I kind of gradually went from east to west.
oh, so
And
huh?
I moved to Prescott 4 years ago from California.
You did. Okay, so were you all in the military or?
No, everybody asked that, but my father was with Travelers Insurance, and they kept transferring him from place to place.
So he was a traveler
He
with
was
Travelers
a
Insurance.
traveler, so, it kind of was in my blood, I guess.
Okay. So have you always been in travel agency or what was your life like before this?
Before that, I worked for an education company and sold educational software to school districts.
Oh.
And it was software that ran the district, like payroll, attendance, grade reporting, those kinds of things. No curriculum.
So you have always been sort of tech savvy so that you could look things up very well, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so how did you get interested in being a travel agent?
Well, when I retired from that other business selling educational software, I thought, well, I want to work. I don't want to just sit around. I can't do that. And my husband and I have traveled a lot. We've been to over 50 countries.
Wow.
And I thought, well, let's look at travel. Let's look at buying a travel business. So we looked at several different franchises and settled on Cruise Planners and bought it 12 years ago. And hence, I've been doing travel ever since.
So these 50 countries that you all were traveling to, those started way before you became a travel agent.
Yes, a number of them, but over the 12 years, we've traveled quite a bit.
So do you travel quite a bit in order to learn more about the places you're going to send people, or is it just you just have that nature that you want to be on the move?
Well, I think it's in my nature, but it's both. I want to learn where we're going and learn about it so that I can refer my clients.
Okay, so here's my real question. When should one talk to a travel agent? When do you start the thought of, I really believe I need a travel agent?
I would say at least a year before you're going to travel.
No spontaneity there.
Because you want to make sure you get the best deals. Because as it gets closer to departure time, accommodations are limited, prices increase. Air is the biggest problem. It increases, but you can't purchase your air more than 350 days prior to your return date.
What? Oh, 350. So you can't plan more than a year out, at least
On
with
air. No.
Huh.
No, but you can at least decide where you want to go and plan the location and then get your air.
Okay, so the first thing a person should do is, I'm guessing, decide where it is they want to go.
Right. When I talk to a potential client, I will ask them a series of questions.
Oh.
Where do you want to go?
Mm-hmm.
How long do you want to be gone? What is your travel style? Do you like 3-star, 4-star, 5-star accommodations, boutique style hotels, Verbos? What is it that where you like to stay? And what's your activity level? Are you very active? Do some hiking, real exploring, or are you not that active? And so that way I can determine what kind of trip we should plan for them.
So and
the most important question is, what's your budget?
I was going to say,
Yeah.
where does the budget fit into that?
Yes.
Because truthfully, it can be shocking. It was shocking to me, and I think a lot of it had to do with the airfare, which I'll tell you about later. But it can stymie you, actually.
Yes, it can be very expensive, and air today is ridiculous.
Why? Cost of fuel?
I think partly cost of fuel, and then I think they're still trying to recoup from during COVID.
Oh.
When nobody was going anywhere.
I wish they'd please not try to recoup off our backs.
Yes,
You know what
I do too. But it is it's very expensive, and that's usually a big chunk of your budget. Like, I had a client yesterday talk to me, and I said, there's 5 people, and they want to go to Amsterdam. And I said, well, what's your budget? And they want to go for a week. And she said $20,000, but we want first-class tickets.
Oh.
I said, well,
Oh,
there's your
hell.
budget.
Actually, for 5 people, I
you-
got to tell you, that's their budget for 2.
Yeah. Well, they were going to get 3 tickets through Miles,
Oh,
which I
gotcha.
always encourage people to do.
Certainly.
But still, it didn't. They have to buy 2 tickets, and I said, you can get there, but you're not going to be able to do much.
And actually, when you say that, one of the things that comes to my mind is, why the heck would somebody travel that far for a week?
That's my question too, but it was during the kids' Christmas vacation.
Oh, see, which brings us to a point that I'm going to ask you about later, and that is the age of travelers and when is the best time to travel and when do people usually travel. But before we take our break, I want to remind people that I have a lot of questions for Sue, and you might too. So give us a call at 928-541-1016 for travel questions, and we'll be right back. Hello again. This is Carol Chamberlain in for the lovely Leza Live on the News 103.5 KYCA. in with Sue Pierce of Vacation Adventures Unlimited. And she is unlimited in her adventures, let me tell you. So, more than 50 countries, 10 times to Italy. Right before this, we were talking about my fabulous experience in Italy 10 times. And that's your favorite spot.
I love it. I always say I can eat and drink my way through Italy.
And you have 10
Yes,
different
we
times.
have.
Okay, so I think a really important thing to understand is how travel agents are paid. Because I thought about, somebody said, oh, you need to get a travel agent to help you figure out your entire route. But I was so unfamiliar, I don't know how you're paid.
That's a good question because a lot of people think that they have to pay us for our time. Well, when I book to a hotel or a cruise or whatever it is I'm booking, the vendor pays me.
Wow.
If you called and booked direct, they're going to pay whoever answered the phone.
Oh, my goodness.
So it doesn't cost you anything. Now, I often, if it's a new client that I don't know, that I've not worked with before, I will charge a small research fee. But then once they book, that fee gets applied to their vacation. So it doesn't cost them anything. But if they have me do all this research and take the information and do their own thing or don't do anything, then I keep that money.
See, let me just tell you how that small whatever fee you're talking about would be so worth it because people can make their own mistakes, and Ken and I did. So we had a week in Tuscany, which was just divine, and 3 days in Rome where we just ran around and saw everything we could. When I talked to you first, you said to me that it was most important to have a private tour guide at in the Vatican.
In the Vatican, yes.
So you know that because?
Well, we've done it several times. And the Vatican, the acoustics are not very good. And it can get extremely crowded. And so if you're with a group of people, even if you have a headset, you can't really follow what the guide is saying. So if you have a private guide, the private guide can pull you off to the side or even take you to little areas that you wouldn't normally see and personally explain everything to you. And so you get a better value out of it.
I am so sorry I didn't meet you months ago. Let me just say that to you.
Well, there's always the future.
Yeah, well, actually, there is the future because it's one of the things I also want to talk about is what age people do this because we really have only started paying attention to it now. But when you look at if you're going to be somewhere for 3 weeks and you should have gotten a private tour guide here, and then you're going to be somewhere for a week, and then you're going to go back and you need to fly somewhere. One of the things that we did not realize was that we were going to fly from Nice to Normandy, easiest way to get there. Well, you can't do that on a Saturday, and you would have known that, and I didn't. So let me just say again, people need to contact you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw one little thing in, though, about a private guide at the Vatican.
Okay.
One year, our guide was, and you will know who this is, but maybe the younger people won't, was the niece of Gina Lollobrigida.
Oh.
And so
was she that beautiful?
She was. She was gorgeous and very sweet, and it was fun talking to her about her aunt.
Oh, my gosh. I can only imagine that. So one of the things I heard from another friend of mine was that they were on a cruise, and when they got off the cruise, they had a private driver take them around Normandy, for example. They had gone along the coast of France and stopped at Normandy. Is that something you recommend, private drivers?
Well, I do, as long as it's a company that guarantees they pick you up and get you back to the ship before it leaves. A lot of people make the mistake of just randomly finding a driver, and you'll see it on the news or read about it. This family was left at the dock because they didn't get back in time. We have companies, or I have companies that I work with that I trust
Okay.
and that I know are going to make sure you get back there in time.
See, I think that is so important because one of the best things that we had, and again, we bought this week's trip at the Rotary Club auction, and it was a week stay in Tuscany. And there was somebody in the small town of Manciano that said, you really do need a private driver for the week you're there or you won't be able to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first heard about it, I said, oh my gosh, I don't want to buy the car. I just want a driver because it was so darn expensive. But it was worth every euro to do that. And I'm
Yes.
guessing that's something you would recommend as well.
Absolutely. And the other nice thing about that, especially when you're on a cruise, if you're on a large ship, you have to wait in the lounge till your number's called before you can disembark the ship to go on your tour. And that can be frustrating.
Very, because there are a lot of people on that ship.
Exactly. And your tours are going to be quite large. But if you have a private tour, you can get off the ship whenever you want. You don't have to wait.
Oh, see.
And there tend to be smaller groups.
Such fabulous knowledge. Okay, so we have to take another short break. So
Okay.
we're going to be back and talk about what age people usually travel. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Carol Chamberlain in for Leza live on the News 103.5 KYCA, talking with Sue Pierce of Vacation Adventures Unlimited. So, While we were on break, we were talking a little bit about cruising. So tell me about inclusive, non inclusive. What do you expect from a cruise?
Well, it depends. We have the mass market ships, which are the very large ships, and the ship is like the destination.
Well, how big is that
Like
ship?
some have 6,000 passengers.
Yikes, that's a city.
Exactly. And lots of kids.
Say no more.
Then there are the more inclusive ones that are more mid range. And then there's the luxury all inclusive. That includes your air, business class air, first class air domestically, but internationally business, your excursions, your transfers, your alcohol. They even set up a bar in your cabin. They
Hello.
include everything except the spa, but usually I can provide onboard credit that they can use for the spa.
Well, and we're going to be too busy to use the spa
Yeah.
anyway. So just give me a guess, and I know that this is not an exact, but on an all-inclusive smaller ship, which you said was maybe 900 people,
Mhm.
which certainly seems more reasonable. And I'm guessing there are not a lot of kids on those.
No, I mean, if there are kids, they're well-traveled kids, so they're very well-behaved.
I know that would be a well-behaved kid, a well-traveled one. So if I were going to do Italy, say,
Mhm.
what would you expect that to be?
Well, for a cruise, it depends on the length of time of the cruise. But let's say a 2-week cruise, it's probably going to be 25,000
Per
for
person?
two.
For two?
For two,
Actually, when you look at it,
it's not that bad.
it's really not that bad. If
Now,
it's
like we're going to Japan in April, and it's almost little over 2 weeks, and ours is 30.
so Japan, a cruise or just a?
It's on a cruise, but there's also a land program that we're going to be doing in Hong Kong.
So I find that very interesting because to me, one of the advantages of a cruise is that you only unpack once and then you get to go places. The disadvantage is that you have to jam it all into whenever they're in port.
Right. Exact. Some of them have overnights, which
Oh,
is nice.
That would be really nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And a lot of them have, they arrive at 7 in the morning and they don't leave till maybe 10 at night.
Okay.
So you have quite a bit of time. And then, like on our cruise, we have a pre-5-day land program that takes us to Hong Kong and around that area.
You must be really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be
and
fun.
You like Japanese food, I understand.
I don't like Philippine food or Taiwan or Thailand food, but I do like Japanese food.
Well, that's good. I hope you can find something on the menu at your other stops.
Well, the last time we were in Japan, we went to a traditional Japanese restaurant where you sat on the floor and
without your shoes.
without your shoes, and the geisha girls
Ooh.
waited on you, and they brought out a little hibachi, and we had Kobe steak, which was the best steak I've ever had in my life.
Oh my gosh, you're making my mouth
Yeah.
water. So that sounds wonderful. And truthfully, eating is really a big part of it. And
Absolutely.
certainly on ships, the food is plentiful.
The food is amazing.
The food is amazing.
Depending. If you're on in fact, we did a cooking class on a Regent cruise, and they told us that the budget for the crew on Regent was more than the budget for the passengers on one of those large ships.
Oh my God.
So the food, and you can tell them, I don't want salt in this, I don't want this, I don't want that, and they'll make it to your liking.
So what's your average aged client?
Most of mine are, I would say, 50 and above.
Okay.
A lot of retirees that travel a lot. But I also have some families with young children that travel.
So I thought I read an article getting ready for this that people really, they're busy raising their families and don't do any major traveling, perhaps in their 20s and 30s. and in their 40s, they're, paying attention to their careers.
Mm-hmm.
And at 50, they start really thinking about traveling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I missed that by maybe a while and didn't start, but Ken and I didn't start until later. And one of the advantages I would think to starting earlier is your stamina is so much better.
That's probably true, but you're there, you're excited, the adrenaline's going, and so you're able to do quite a bit.
You certainly are. I have to tell you, we walked miles and miles and miles around Italy and France, and that was a wonderful thing. So when is the best time of year to travel?
Well, it depends on where you're going. You don't want to go to the Caribbean in the summer
Oh,
because of
how smart would that be?
because of hurricanes, and even into early fall,
Oh, yeah.
as we've seen this year. We like to go to Europe in the fall, say late August, September, or even into October, because the Europeans go on vacation in August. So they're all out there doing what you're doing,
Right.
and kids are out of school. But when you get into September, October, kids are back in school, the Europeans are back to work, it's less crowded.
Gotcha. And don't they call that one of the shoulder seasons or something like that?
Well, it can be kind of pricey because a lot of people want to travel at that period of time
see,
without children.
Everybody caught on to that. Okay, we're going to take one more break right now, and we'll be back to talk with Sue Pierce right after this. Carol Chamberlain in for Leza Live on the News 103.5 KYCA, talking with Sue Pierce of Vacation Adventures Unlimited. So, speaking of Adventures Unlimited, I'm sure you've got some war stories.
I do. One I can think of right off the bat is there was a young couple going to Italy on a cruise, had never been to Europe, didn't travel much. And I said, you need to fly in the day before because you don't know what's going to happen to that flight. Oh, no, we're getting in at 10 in the morning. We'll be fine. I said, I can find you an inexpensive hotel. You really should go the day before. Nope, we don't want to spend the money on a hotel. Well, that evening I get a phone call. Their flight was canceled. Then
Oh.
they were going to, their cruise is leaving at 5 and they were going to get in at 2.
Oh,
And
that's cutting it close.
And I said, you're an hour and a half from the cruise port, from the airport, and you got to go through customs. So they said, oh, we'll be fine. So they called back an hour later. Our flight's been delayed. We're now not getting in until 3. I said, okay, you missed your transfer. What you need to do is get a cab, give them an extra 20 euros and say, book it to the cruise line. I said, do you have anything? Oh, and then they called back when they got there and they said, we didn't get our luggage. I said, well, do you have anything with you? Well, we have the one outfit you told us to pack in case and our bathing suits, but that's it. So I said, okay, well, hightail it to the cruise and let me know that you got on. So they did make it.
They made
They
it?
made it. And their luggage, I was tracking it, went to a different country every day for the entire cruise. They didn't get it until the last day of the cruise.
Oh, my. So they had to buy new stuff
so
at
they
every
had
port?
to buy clothes. They had to buy, toothbrushes and toothpaste and stuff like that. I mean, they had to buy everything. It cost them more than what a hotel would have been the night before. And they didn't have insurance. If they had had insurance, which I recommend to everyone, it would have paid for their lost luggage.
Oh, my gosh. It's just, I'm having heart palpitations as we speak because I can't imagine if my luggage got lost all that time. I mean, how do you put all your outfits together?
Well, we were on a trip to Spain, and our luggage did not show up. It never showed up.
Oh, my.
So fortunately, there was a little shopping center next to our hotel, and we went and bought all new clothes. But not everybody can afford to do that.
Well, no, and I tell you, well, I hope it was a great one, so you had a lot of selection.
It was.
I would just be devastated.
It was kind of boutique-y, so they had some really cool stuff. I came home and threw away a bunch of clothes because I like these clothes
Exactly.
better.
I'm going to keep these.
Yeah.
So would travel insurance have paid for your lost luggage and needed so that you could have bought that on them?
They give you a limited amount of money. We got some money, but not what we spent.
Not what. And so the airline that lost your luggage
No.
had no responsibility.
Actually, what the truth is we shipped our luggage. And we've done it before, but I used a different company that I will never use again, and it got stuck in customs.
Oh.
So we were gone almost 3 weeks, and our luggage arrived at home the
Oh.
day after we got home.
Oh, I tell you. So that was the worst. It very quickly. Can you tell me the best thing you've ever seen happen?
Well, we were in Milan. We went to Venice.
Oh.
And in Italy, the trains go on strike a lot. And the hotel said, you need to go to the train station right now if you want to get back. So we did. And the train station was right next to La Scala Opera House.
Oh.
And Madame Butterfly was there. And I wanted to see it so bad. And it had been sold out. So my husband said, well, let's just go check anyway. We got the 2 best seats you could possibly get.
Oh, my
I was
gosh.
in tears the whole time.
The travel gods were with you.
Mhm.
So I want to say thank you so much to Sue Pierce of Vacation Adventures Unlimited. And tell us your phone number, Sue, quickly.
949-498-0664.
That's 949-498-0664. It has been such a pleasure having you, and I will be calling you because Ken and I have got the travel bug. So thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Goodbye to everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning.